Imagine a man says to a woman, "Please marry me. I can't live without you." Should she marry him? There was this comedian who said, "I don't trust men. I learned not to trust men because I had a boyfriend and he said if I ever left him, he would kill himself. So I left him." They never do what they promise. So if a man says, "Please marry me, I can't live without you," he's lying. He can live without you. But what if he's sincere? Well, then you really don't want to marry him. He needs therapy, not a wife. If you can't live without me, you got some serious issues. So, imagine if a man says to a woman, "Please marry me, I can live without you." Now you got an honest man. A single honest man. So to say I can't live without you is no good. To say I can live without you is also no good. What's a man supposed to say? Nothing? You want to marry me? A man should say what God says. I can exist without you, but without you, it's not a life. Because that's the truth. Why do we get married? Because to be alone is not a life, even if your existence is perfect. See, marriage is a divine affair. You got to talk like God to get married. When you get married, what is supposed to happen? If you're getting married in order to make yourself healthier, stronger, more noble, if it's a self-improvement project, it's not going to work. You get married when you don't see any way to improve. You're as good as you're going to get. Now it's time to get married. In other words, when you think you're perfect. When you think you're perfect, it's time to get married. Some people think, when I'm perfect, I won't need to get married. See, that's not right. You get married when you're perfect. Now, how do you convince her that you're perfect? See, that's the trick. You got to find someone who thinks you're perfect. But if they think you're perfect, they got some issues. So we got the same problem in reverse. What is it that creates that chemistry, for lack of a better word, that makes a man and a woman want to marry each other? A guy calls me up and he says, "I'm going out with this girl. She's fantastic. Great in everything. She's just perfect. But I'm hesitating for some reason. I don't know why." I said, "I know why. She doesn't need you. What can you bring? What can you offer?" Finding virtue in a person is not a reason to marry them. So let's get that idea straight in our minds. You want to marry somebody who is good, who is decent, who is responsible, who is loving, who is thoughtful, who is strong, intelligent. Yeah, you want to marry that kind of a person. But when you meet that kind of a person, what is it that's going to create that bond or that click? The fact that they're intelligent, they're good, they're kind, they're decent, they're thoughtful, that means that you could marry them. But why would you? So you say, I married him for his intelligence, for his strength. No. Then you're marrying something about him, not him. So let me ask you something. A man comes to a woman and says, I love you. You're so rich. I want to marry you for your money. Anything wrong with that? No good? Huh? Look, she has money. He loves money. Match made in heaven. She has what he needs. So what's wrong with that? So most people say, well, what happens when he loses the money? What if you marry her for love and you lose the love? Same problem. It's more likely she loses the love than the money. So money is a safer bet. So why would you marry somebody for love? Marrying somebody for money is not only a bad idea, it's really insulting and disgraceful. When a man says, I want to marry you for your money, it's a thinly disguised request for money. Because what he's really saying is, in a perfect world, you would just give me the money. I wouldn't have to marry you to get the money. But, nothing's perfect in this world. So in order for me to get the money, I guess I'm going to have to marry you. It is so insulting. It's so disrespectful. But the same is true with love. I love you and you love me. Let's get married. No, not a good idea. A young couple came to me and said, we're very much in love. Will you do the wedding for us? I said, you want to get married? They said, yes. I said, why? They said, because we're in love. I said, no, so good enough. If you're already in love, it's too late for marriage. Because you're marrying for love, which you already have. So what are you getting married for? For the last 100 years, I think since Tevye in Anatevka, everyone who got married for love. Are marriages stronger, deeper, more lasting now? Not at all. Because you're marrying for love and you already have the love. The marriage is only going to take it down. So if you're already in love, leave it. What are you getting married for? So some people say, well, to be committed. To be committed? Well, what does that mean? It means you're going to stay together even when you stop loving each other? No, you won't. You're getting married for love. So look, what is wrong with saying, I want to marry you for your money? If you want to marry me for my money, you're lying. You don't want to marry me. You just want the money. You're marrying the money, not me. And if you want my love, you're marrying the love, not me. Because love, money, passion, security, these are all things. So you want something from me. And to get it, you're going to marry me. But you're not marrying me. You're marrying this thing that you want from me. So if a wife asks her husband, what do you love about me? Husbands, don't answer. Stay away. It's a trap. Because no matter what you're going to say, you're going to be in trouble. Why do you love me? Oh, you're beautiful. You're so shallow. My looks, that's it? No, of course not. No, it's your intelligence. My intelligence? You love me for being intelligent? No. Your mother. I love your family. Your mother is just... Look, whatever you're going to say, it's going to be wrong. Because whatever you're going to say is going to be something, it's not going to be her. So what she wants to hear you say is, just you. I just love you. Yeah, well, what do you love about me? No. Not about you. I just love you. She won't know what to say. It's the only safe answer. The only safe answer is to say, I don't know, I just need you. Because really that's the truth. Marriage means I need you in my life. What about me? No, nothing, not about you. You. So back in 1990, I published a book called Doesn't Anyone Blush Anymore? By Harper, San Francisco. They ask you, the publishers, ask you to give a list of possible titles. I gave them a list. Blush was one of them, but I didn't prefer that one. My favorite title, which I wanted to call the book, which is on relationship, I wanted to call it Shut Up, I Love You. Because in most marriages, this is a problem. I love you. I married you because I love you. I want you to love me. Can you just shut up and love me? I don't need your opinion. I love you because I love love. Do you have to have a personality? If you didn't have a personality, this would be perfect. If you didn't have an opinion, this would be perfect. So just shut up and let me love you, and we'll be happy. In other words, if I marry you for love, I don't want the rest of you. I don't need your opinion. When you marry a person, not something about the person. And in fact, that's the definition of intimacy. Intimacy. Jackie Mason has a hilarious routine. He says he goes to California, people are sitting around doing nothing, and he wonders, how do they make a living? They're always sitting in the cafes and talking. So he went over to one of them and said, don't you have a job? And they say, yeah, we are producers. We're producing a movie. And we're discussing where to put the sex scene. So he asks them, every movie has to have a sex scene. Why? And they say, because the movie is a simulation of reality. And in life, people have sex. He says, yeah. People also have soup. That is such a devastating observation. Why doesn't every movie have to have a soup scene? Tastefully done, of course. Not vulgar slurping of soup. And then he says, and by the way, more people have soup than sex. No one ever said, soup? No, I got a headache. So really the question is, the question of the night, what's the difference between soup and sex? I bet you don't know. There was this guy who came to a weekend program, and he wouldn't let the women alone. He thought he was some kind of a Don Juan. And anyways, I took him aside and I said, I'm going to ask you a question because you look like you might know the answer. What's the difference between soup and sex? He says, what? I said, what's the difference between soup and sex? He says, I don't know. I said, oh, you don't know? I'm so disappointed. You looked like the type that would know. And by the way, if you don't know the difference between soup and sex, stay out of the kitchen. What is the difference between soup and sex? The real difference is soup is a thing. Sex is a non-thing if it's intimate. What is presented today as sexual behavior, that's soup. And I don't know if you heard about this, but people have had enough soup. Gets a little boring after a while. And it is. People are not having sex. According to the Pew studies, the average couple are intimate maybe once a month. This is not healthy. This is how a society becomes extinct, by the way. But truly. The Romans disappeared, the Greeks disappeared. Nobody killed them. They faded out because they lost interest in intimacy. So no children were born, they died out. This is not good. So, intimacy, by definition, is a non-thing. But Hollywood, the media, has turned it into a thing, and it's destroying marriages. Intimacy is a normal, natural, necessary human need. When you reduce it to something, it's no longer necessary. And it does not bring people together. It keeps a couple separated. Because when you're busy doing something, you lose sight of each other. A guy comes over to me during a weekend in a hotel. He says, "Can I ask you a personal question?" Take a chance. He says, "I'm just curious. You sleep with your beard under the blanket or above the blanket?" For 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep. I'm serious. I've been doing fine for years. But when he made me self-conscious, I tried it one way, it was like, try the other way, I don't really see a difference, maybe try it again. Couldn't sleep. When you become self-conscious about intimacy, it becomes a performance, becomes a thing, and that's not human. You don't use another human being for anything, even if they agree. It's not respectful. Intimacy is a non-thing. It's two people merging into each other because there's nothing separating them. When you have nothing coming between you, you merge like two drops of water next to each other. Why are there two drops? Why are they just sitting there like that? Water is supposed to flow. The answer is surface tension. Surface tension keeps each of the drops in its own shape, separate from the other one. What will it take for them to become one drop? Shake the table. Blow on it. Anything that breaks that tension, they will flow into each other and become one. So if you remove the resistance, if you remove the obstacles, you merge into each other. That's not a performance. That's not a thing. That's just us. So if you asked your grandmother, well, what happens in the bedroom? What would your grandmother say? Nothing. You say, no, come on, tell me. What happens in the bedroom? Nothing. Grandma, I'm 48. I'm old enough, you can tell me now. Nothing. And you think she doesn't want to tell you. She actually told you the only correct answer. In a bedroom, what happens? No thing. It's a no-thing zone. It's just them. Just them being together, with nothing coming between them. That's called intimacy. And when you achieve that, when you get past all things, including love, because love is a thing. You have it today, tomorrow you don't. You have more, you have less. It's a thing. But when you're merging with a person, there is no thing. And then you are bonded to where you cannot be separated. We have a Sunday night program for VIPs that you might be interested in. It's informal, it's questions and answers, it's conversation. It's really relaxed, it's really pleasant, enjoyable, informative, and kind of community-like. It's a Sunday night program. There's a Wednesday morning program for the VIPs, and there's a Wednesday night program. All of it just conversation, casual, laid back, unscripted. So join us. Take a look. Click the link below and see which of the three suits you best, and join us for some enjoyable conversation.